doesn't wear a lot of makeup, so.
I want to first thank you for taking the time to do this. I know we've been going back and forth, and you're actually in the Bahamas right now, and enjoying some nice sun and some. I guess you're getting away from a little bit of the chaos. But tell me a little bit about your history as far as like being in a relationship, a business relationship, and like going through the transformation recently.
So being in Bobby and myself have been married for 30 years. I've actually been more time with him than I have in my whole entire life of my own. Because I met him at 18 and I've been with him for 30. It's a difficult task, but it's very rewarding if you do it the right way. Bobby and myself didn't know this at the very beginning, like any other couple and people that get together and they just go into a relationship and not know each other's personalities. We went through very challenging times at the very beginning because, work, Bobby's a workaholic. Bobby works 7 days a week, and if he's awake, he's working. And it's not physically working, but he's, looking into learning every day. He wants to learn more. He works our deals. He looks at every spreadsheet, what the NOIs are in every property, what are the vacancies, what's going on this property, what's going on in that. So it's an all-dayer for Bobby. If he's awake, he's working. So, and I'm a little bit more, I know how to balance my life a little bit more. I work, 10 hours a day, but then I do also like to enjoy family, friends, fun. And I try to balance that out. With him, there's no balance. So both of us have to get used to how to balance each other's personalities. And that's the hardest thing that everybody doesn't know how to do. You have to learn what your spouse or your partner personality is like. So, and then that way, what they're what they're bad, what they're good, what's your bad, what's your good, so that you could balance those out. And that way you're able to live a happy life together. Because if not, it's impossible. With a workaholic, most women would get, mad because you're not paying attention to me. You're not paying attention to the kids. We're not having date nights. We're not having fun time. You're always working. You don't tell me nice things. So all those things are difficult. And Bobby and me learned at the very beginning that we needed to learn those things of each other.
Yeah.
And what we do is that we try to balance them as much as we can. Bobby and me try to do a date night once a week, no matter what. Every day we text each other cute little messages. Even if we're in the same office, we work together. We live together, we work out together, we go out together, we do everything together. So we try to, even if we're in the same household, we send each other little messages, hey, I just wanted to let you know I love you.
Is the messages like part of both of y'all's love language? Because that's kind of like affirmation, right? Is that one of y'all's both love languages?
Yeah, well, we have different love languages, but Bobby's is showing them by text, by affirmations. Mine is more touching and loving and holding, but yes, so those are things too that are great to do. Another one that's great to do is learning your personality is DISC. Bobby and myself did the DISC, and we did it for the whole company. And believe it or not, it allows you to understand each other's faults, I want to say, or the goods, the bads, and then you work based on those. You're able to say, oh, okay, wait a minute. She did this because that's just her personality. There's no changing that. So we need to work around those things. Yeah. So we know that we have to balance each other out. And where Bobby's strong, I'm weak. And where I'm strong, Bobby's weak. So we're able to, balance those two out with our strength and our weaknesses, right? So we understand that. And a lot of people have to understand that. Another thing is communicating, making sure that you tell each other, good or bad, it doesn't matter. If you don't like something or you don't like the way that something turned out, you need to say it. Hey, you know what, honey, I didn't like this for whatever reason. I know that you don't mind it, but I mind it. So can we work at this?
Yeah, was that something that y'all had to like develop early in your relationship, like just being straightforward, like, or like for example, like let's say if there's something that happens that you don't like, how soon do you address it? Say, you know what, I didn't appreciate you. How long do you?
Okay, so that's a good question. I did not learn that from the very beginning. I'm Cuban, and I have a very fast temper.
Yeah.
Like anything blows me up
Okay.
real quick. It's a typical Cuban trait. And at the very beginning, I used to blow up, and I had a big, loud, like Bobby calls me a chihuahua. You know, I had a very snappy bite and always in his ear, and you know, and I learned that that's not right. So we both spoke about it. We learned that that's not the right thing. And so when do you communicate if you don't like something? It has different timings. There's sometimes that if it's a big blow up, don't speak about it right there. Don't tell the person, your spouse, your wife, your husband, whatever. If it's a big blow up, why are you going to put more fire to a fire? So I always allow, and I always tell this to everybody because it's worked for me for 30 years, always allow that fire to settle down, calm down, don't say nothing, walk away for each other for a little while. I don't know, sometimes it depends on the personality. Sometimes it could be 10 minutes, sometimes it could be 10 hours, you know? But when you see the things are calmed down, then you sit down when you're both rational, that your minds are right and they're focused and they're clear. Say, honey, you know what? Today, what happened, I did not like it at all. It made me feel this way, this way, this way, and I just don't want that. What can we do to fix that? It might be okay with you, but it's not okay with me. So we need to come somewhere in the middle. But yeah, so you have to discuss that when everybody is nice, calm, straight head, clear mind, and that you're able to communicate those words. Because if you're fighting and you're at each other's throat for whatever reason, and you sit there and you want to tell that person that you don't want, that you don't like that, what do you think is going to come out of that? Not good, you know? So always the right time is, you know, and that's, and the right time is different for everyone.
Yeah, that's so true. And now you say that because I've always like thought that like I want to say like my wife's the same way. Like we have to like kind of we have to have some time to breathe. I'm more shorter. Like I'm like, okay, well, it's been an hour. Let's talk about it. She's like, no, I'm not ready yet. But I guess I guess that makes a lot of sense. It's better just to wait and let everything kind of cool down. And it might be even better to wait because you get to process more and you get to kind of think of like, you know, what I said wrong or what we did wrong or why didn't we do it this way, and you kind of come back with a better strategy. That's very, very good. So let me ask.
Yes, definitely.
Like did y'all's personalities change? Because I had a conversation with Brian Tracy a while back, and he said that for example, when you met Bobby, like he's engaged, like he wants to work, he wants to keep moving, right? And you're like more like, okay, like let's relax a little bit. Did y'all kind of like come together and now y'all have like this ultimate I feel y'all have like this ultimate personality because like y'all are entwined. It's not about, okay, well, it's more about what he wants. It's more about I think y'all work together. I think that's what makes y'all so attractive as a couple.
Yes, definitely. We're, I have to say right now, today, we're like one, but it's been 30 years.
Yeah.
At the very beginning, no, it was not like that at all. Like you said, Bobby was always very focused, very driven, and wanted and still wants to work 7 days a week, all day long. As he's awake, he wants to, you know, intake as much knowledge as he can, work as hard as he can, and he really is not too much of having friends or having a fun time. It's not important for him. As for me, I'm a very big family, friends, and fun. I need it. It's like I need that in my life, right? So he tries to balance with me a lot, and he did. So we came to the middle. You know, he needs to come and play a little bit more, and I needed to slow down a little bit more on, you know, being out and focus more. And this was I was 18 years old. So imagine, I mean, I was very young. I had no clue of entrepreneurship, and I didn't know what it took to actually get where we got in life. You can't get there by not being focused and being full driven. attack mode 24/7.
Yeah.
It takes that in order to get where we
Let
got.
me ask you this, because like you, like y'all had, when y'all met, y'all had two different personalities. You're like more like the fight or flight kind of, right? You're like, you know what, like, and so Bobby's more. I believe he's more about information and facts. How did y'all learn for him to communicate like business decisions to you? Because I'm pretty sure you had your own opinions, but he's like, no, like we got to do it this way. How did you overcome like not feeling like he was telling you what to do?
Another good question. Yes, that did take a little bit, but because we met so young,
Yeah.
and since day one, Bobby involved me in business with him. He always wanted to be right there. He wanted me to be his right-hand man, his partner. We were in it together from the very beginning. But yes, he did have that at the very beginning. It's my way. I'm going to decide what we're going to do, and you're going to be right next to me, but I'm making decisions, right? And at the very beginning, I was okay because I didn't know anything about business. As I went growing and really got involved in business and understood it, he saw that I was very involved in that, and my decisions did make that there were right decisions, and that I had good information, and that I was aside him. But so he learned to let go a little bit. That's still a little hard for Bobby, but we do 50-50. Bobby, I am so blessed to have a husband like him, because whatever decisions he does, he comes to me for 50% opinion. So he will not go into a business, or he will not do something without consulting us together and saying that we both agree and we both think it's a great idea, and we move forward. So been very blessed to have a husband that allows me to be a decision maker alongside him.
That's very interesting you say that, because I'm 41, and I think I just recently went through like this transition mentally, where like when I was young, I was very optimistic, and I was like, let's go all in, but as I got older, I learned about like risk factors, and I learned about like just having other people's opinion, and like, because I'm pretty sure when he probably brought an idea to you, and you're like, no, what about this? Did you think about this? And he's like, nah, I never thought about that, but that makes so that
yes, and that has happened many times, where he's wanted to do something and he thought it was a great idea, and I put in my twist to it, and he's like, oh wow, wait, and it happens with both of us. Like, I won't make a business decision without consulting it with Bobby myself. It doesn't mean that we're not going to do something. If we have the mindset that we're wanting it and we're going to go get it, doesn't mean that we're going to stop each other, because I have his back just as he has my back. So if he thinks it's a great idea, I'm going to go full force with him all the way, even though that I don't really know the whatever he's doing. I don't know it 100%. But if I, financially, if it makes sense, I'm like, okay, let's go. I'll learn along the way with you. And the vice versa. He's been the same with me. We've been very fortunate to respect each other, and take each other's opinion with full on power. Like nobody, he doesn't put me down. I don't put him down. We don't, if we have ideas, we try to work at the ideas to make them great. So it's been great. And I tell a lot of husbands and wife out there, they always tell us, how can you guys be 24/7 together? You work together, you do everything together. How can you do it? I would get sick of my wife. I would want to kill my husband. And, I think that Bobby and myself put a mission together when we decided that we were going to get married, and, we had a baby and all this stuff, that we were going to make this work, and that we were going to do it together. We have both, 50-50. Let's go into this. We're going to hold each other's hand, and we're going to push each other along. Nobody's going to drag anybody back. Whatever you think, we're going to do whatever you think we're going to do. So together, we're just going to go. If we have a final goal and we both want to get there, why wouldn't we push each other along, hold each other's hand, and go down that path? It's so much easier to do it together than having a goal and having somebody every step of the way pushing you off that road, and then you have to come back and then go. So it's kind of like not it doesn't work when you don't have a partner that is together with you. And a lot of husbands, and I'm going to say husbands because it is true, and I don't want to be a feminist here and say, oh, only women, but most men believe that they have to be the bread maker, that breadwinner, and that they have to be the one to guide the family, and that that the wife has to stay home, and they have to be a wife, and they have to be a mother, and that they can't do business. And that mindset just doesn't work, because even if you don't want your wife or your husband in your business, having them along your side, holding your hand and pushing you if you fall back, it's a great outcome. A great outcome.
That's one thing that I identified from y'all, like from the beginning, was like y'all's relationships is built off y'all's strengths and like the disc and personalities, and y'all really use that information, because like you said, I meet a lot of guys that are business owners, and they have like this big ego, and they don't want to include their wife. But I always ask a question. I said, hey, have you ever done the Strength Finders, right? And they're like, no, what is that? And I was like, you should definitely do it. Or what about, have you read the book Love and Respect? Have you read that book? They're like, no, we haven't read it. I was like, man, like you need to invest in that, because if you're able to empower your wife like Bobby has with you, like you can make them like move mountains.
I mean, it's such a great outcome, guys. It makes your relationship stronger. It makes it better. You feel more love towards each other. It's just such a great reward when your marriage or your partner, whatever it is, if you're not married and you live together, or that partner of yours is going to be right there side by side, guiding you, helping you, backing you. It's an awesome feeling. I mean, we've done it, and 30 years of results.
What advice would you take from like someone like yourself? You said that you're from Cuba. You had like this real strong personality, but how would you? What suggestions would you make for ladies to kind of start to grow with their husband? Like what things can they do to kind of take those steps?
There's different steps. If you're not in business with him and you're completely in a different industry, or you're just a housewife, taking care of the babies, taking care of the house, which is a huge responsibility, right? Get involved in knowing what their day-to-day business is like. Letting them say whatever went wrong. What is the industry that they're in? Learn a little bit about it, even if it's just, over the top. So that when he does get home, or you have a weekend, that you could speak about what's happening in his life, which he spends most of his day in. Because if you're not working together, you're more at work than you are at home. That's a fact. So you need to be able to be involved, have some communication, because if you don't know what he's doing or what his business entails, how can you speak about what's happening? And it's not that you're only going to speak about business, but you have to have some sort of connection and knowing what his day is like in business, right? So that's one, if you're a housewife or if you're not involved in his business. If you're involved in your own business and he's involved in a different business, the same thing goes for both, because both partners needs to know. You tell your partner a little bit about your business, though your partner tells you about their business. You're able to give opinions or help out if there's something that they're having trouble with. Maybe you could give, some type of knowledge that you could help out, right? Either or. So those are things that you could do in order to be able to communicate and be still one, even though that you're not in the same industry or in the same business, so that you're not in two separate lives. Because if you don't, you're living this lane, he's living this lane. And then the only thing that's bringing you in the middle is your kids, right? Sometimes that gets monotonous, and then that's when it gets boring, and you're like, oh, but he's always at work. He never pays attention to me. He doesn't want to talk when he gets home from work. He goes into the room and he doesn't. Well, how can he talk to you if you have no clue of what's happening in his business? And he doesn't want to sit there and just tell you everything that happened if you really don't know what happened. If you don't know the industry, right?
Yeah.
If you don't know that mindset.
You know what?
So
No one's ever like kind of you, because that's like sales, right? If you're gonna go meet a new client, you want to know who the client is. But as relationships, we kind of fail to do that sometimes, right? I mean, it's weird because we'll do that for a client, but like that's very interesting how you kind of brought that, because that's something that probably no one's ever really.
yeah, they don't do it a lot. A lot of couples don't do it. They're like, oh, I don't care about his business. I don't care what he does. Well, guess what? He's there more hours than he is with you. So if you need some type of connection, you need to know, and you at least just,
Yeah.
talk. I mean, just to talk, just to have some type of communication.
And I think that goes back to like, where some women or some men are like, well, I'll do it once they do it. Like you gotta be the leader of the family, and you gotta take charge as a man. I feel as a man, you gotta take charge of the family and give direction and kind of step out and do those things.
Yeah. And the husband, the same thing. If your wife is a housewife and taking care of your kids and cleaning the house and cooking for you, you better find out, hey, how was your day? What was it like? Hey, what's going on with the kids? Get involved on her daily routine so that you could understand how monotonous and how tiring that life of hers that she's living. Because being a housewife and being a mom is a 24-hour job. You never disconnect. And it seems like an eternity, and that nobody's in there with you. And husbands come home from work and they feel, I'm so tired. I've been working all day and you're home. Nobody. She's been working all damn day, cleaning, taking care of kids that drive you nuts. And now you're coming home and sticking yourself in a room or putting yourself in a computer and not paying attention to her, not asking her. She's tired too.
Yeah.
So those are things that both partners have to interact with each other's daily routine on business, what they're doing, everything. They need to, connect those.
How did I'm interested to know like how y'all's like how did y'all's like goal setting and I guess planning change once, I know, because when Bobby did the business transaction and like y'all were kind of like on builder mode, like for a long time. Y'all were like, let's build. But then he hit this point where he achieved like this huge success. And so now it's like, oh shoot, this is what we wanted and we got it. Now we gotta like kind of program ourselves, because it's a different way of thinking, because now people like probably see as a target. Now people like want to take. And so how did that transition go?
So it's been exactly 1 year since we got bought out of the company. That first year was kind of difficult. Bobby went through a really hard roller coaster ride because he said he was ready and he wanted to get out of the business just because he wanted to, he turned 52 and he was like, I'm done. I want to do something else. Let's just do real estate. And then that way we could go travel and do some little investment and do some coaching and, give our knowledge to others. I was good with it. I was either, stay with BHG and we could work hard. I didn't mind it because I was running the real estate part of the business and he was running BHG. So I was like, I didn't mind either way we go. But for Bobby, he wanted to get out. And when he got out, it really hit him hard. So we went through a little roller coaster ride there and that's when I tell you, I let him be. I knew every day, he would spend 4 or 5 hours on the computer just looking up things that he wanted to learn about, reading many, many books, and trying to get through, that hard moment. I just let go of my baby because we created that company from the start, me and Bobby by ourselves. And that company grew very large. So, our employees, our business partner, that is his brother, and the other business partner was his best friend. Those two guys, they were together all day, every day. Those three were like attached to the hip. And then to come out and that he didn't have his two, partners, his brother especially, to have there, right there, to have as a soundboard, you know. He could go over there and talk to them and get ideas bounced off of all three of them. And it was, you know, nice. But then now that he got out, it was difficult. We had to go through a little roller coaster ride. We, you know, got in a couple of little arguments because I would try to get him out of that mood. And then he would tell me, leave me alone. I need to go through this, you know, normal, you know, issues that couples have. But we did what I said, you know, let him be. When it's right time, we would sit down, we would discuss what was bothering him, what was going on. We would just talk. And you know, it was fast, but you know, that happens to everybody. So then we just went back into business right away. He got into social media, which you know, he was helping a lot of people. He's, you know, out there just giving messages on how he did it in life and so forth. And now he's ready to move on. We're going to be, you know, we're just increasing our portfolio in multifamily and just getting it larger. And we're doing small investments in other businesses and stuff like that. So right now life is great. We're in the Bahamas right now for a month. We have our boat that we go island to island, and we spend a couple of weeks in different islands in the Bahamas. So it's been nice a couple of last weeks.
Nice. Yeah. I'm curious to know, like, how did y'all have older children, right? How are your kids?
Our daughter is 29 years old, and our son is 24.
Okay, so I have a 26. I have two 26-year, the twins.
Cool.
Yeah. So, how is that transition? Because like, you want them to you don't want them to follow your footsteps. I mean, I don't know. Like, you kind of want them to kind of do their own thing. How do y'all have those conversations?
So what we did with our kids from being really little, we always had them in the office with us. We always would bring them after school, or if they didn't have sports to play, they would come to the office. They would sit there. They would do their homework at the office. They would see the whole business, how it would run. They would see us working. And that mindset just set on them. When they got out of school, they both went to college for a year. And they both said, it's not for me. I want to go into business with you guys. My daughter didn't like finance. She came into real estate with me from the very beginning. She didn't love real estate either. Now she is in the fashion world. She's an entrepreneur. She has a shoe line that's coming out this year. And my son did love financing. So my son worked in BHG for a little bit, worked in our in our real estate company with us now. And he's with us right along our side. So he's loved the business. So he's with us. My daughter is her own entrepreneur with her business. Yeah, but her husband actually is one of our management in our asset management team. Yeah. And he loves it. He's amazing. He's, you know, so he's taken her place in our company.
Yeah, that's always good. That's always good to have the kids there and let them understand the business and let them kind of do their own thing at the same time. So that's good. So, is there anything else you want to share? What projects do you want to share? Anything?
So right now I'm doing a project which is going to be targeted to women. I'm doing a real estate course that's going to teach women. Really, it's going to teach everyone, but I'm really focused on women because I really am passionate on letting women know that they could do it themselves too. So I'm doing a real estate investment course in multifamily, and I'm going to be teaching them everything from A through Z, how to get started, what resources you need, how to look for a property. Once you have a property, how to manage that property, how to, do a strategy where you're going to either hold on to it for long-term or short-term holds, and all those things. So I'm really even working from here from the Bahamas. I'm working on my course right now. I should have it done hopefully in the next 3 months. Yeah. So I'm really excited about that because I'm going to really target women because I want them to understand that they could do it.
Yeah. Do you also do like relationship courses?
I don't, but we should. I mean, we get questions. I always ask questions about how do you guys do it? How do you do it? And we should have a relationship course.
Because you seem like the type that like if a lady will come up to you and ask you for advice, like you'll just be straightforward with her. You'll be like, look, mama, this is what you need to do. Quit crying, pick yourself up, and go make it happen. Like Gary. And
yes, I do. I do. All my friends, even people I don't know that ask for advice, I give them the same thing. Number one is communication. Communication is huge. It's a priority.
All right, Sophia, I want to let you go enjoy the weather out there in the Bahamas. Tell Bobby and the family I said hello. Tell Bobby whenever he has time to reach out to me. Maybe we can get him on and talk real estate, talk forecast, talk about this crazy recession, depression wave we're on right now.
Yes, it's crazy times. I hope it never happens again.
I know, right? All right, Sophia, I'll talk to you later, okay?
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.